Montgomery, Alabama is a place that's a crucial site for African American and American history. It's a city where men and women risked life and limb to give us the freedoms we enjoy today. My name is Nelson George for BlackAtlas.com. Welcome to Montgomery. We are outside the Rosa Parks Museum and Library here in Montgomery, and I saw this sign and I just wanted to read it to you. At the bus stop on this site on December 1st, 1955, Mrs. Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to boarding whites. This brought her arrest. The boycott began December 5th, the day of Parks' trial, as a protest by African Americans for unequal treatment they received in the bus line. Refusing to ride the buses, they maintained the boycott until the U.S. Supreme Court ordered integration of public transportation 1 year later. Following Rosa Parks' act of defiance in December 1955, the blacks of Montgomery decided to fight the fact that they were discriminated against and would not take the buses. They organized their own carpool system using some 350 cars, several pickup locations, and a great deal of love and passion. Here, a half-century ago, one little black woman led a transformation that has changed everything about how we live, move, even breathe in this country. In the center of Montgomery is a contrast between civil rights past and present. Right there in the corner are the offices of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. Behind that is the actual Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, was where Dr. King was minister in 1955 when Rosa Parks stayed on the bus. Now, this building right here is the Southern Poverty Law Center. It is a contemporary organization that deals with issues, not just voting rights violations, but also sex trafficking, immigration, and even hate groups. In a survey on their website last year, they named over 1,000 hate groups in the United States. A sign of the times, in fact, that the civil rights movement as we know it continues on. Behind me is beautiful sculpture. It's done by Maya Lin. Maya Lin is a person who designed the Vietnam Memorial in D.C., and she did this tribute to the Civil Rights Movement, which is at the entrance to the Civil Rights Memorial Center, which is run by the Southern Poverty Law Center. It's another place in Montgomery that celebrates the legacy of the struggle. If you take Highway 80 out of Montgomery, it'll take you straight to Selma, Alabama, and to this bridge, the Edmund Pettus Bridge, which in March of 1965 was the site of 3 marches that changed the course of American history. Those courageous marchers are documented at the National Voting Rights Museum, which is the base of the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and every March at our annual Jubilee event that celebrates those heroes.
Well, the National Voting Rights Museum and Institute specifically was started in 1991 by Fire Rose Toure, formerly Rose Sanders. This institution is co-founded by members of that particular movement who were the ones that were on the battlefield, the ones that were part of the march, the ones that died, the ones that prayed, that were stomped, that were beaten. So we're very proud to be an institution that comes directly out of that.
I mean, when you walk into the museum, there's a room where you see literally the footprints of people who marched.
Those footprints represent those individuals that were on that bridge. We call them foot soldiers of the movement. And if it wasn't for these foot soldiers, those that sacrificed their lives, they didn't care about the job, they didn't care about what the teacher was going to say, what their parents were going to say, we wouldn't have the right to vote as black people.
You were how old?
11 years old. I was 11 years old. You know. And that was the thing about this movement was once Dr. King got involved in the movement, really heated up, they wanted to have demonstrations in front of the courthouse every day. So they came up with a strategy that during the work week, when adults couldn't go to the picket line, they started encouraging students, walk out of school and go to the picket line.
Right.
So that's what we would do. We would go to school, we'd walk out of school, we'd go to Brown Chapel Church, because we'd always line up at the church. Then we'd march from the church down to the courthouse. We would stand
and you did this every day?
Not every day, but many days. And this jail represents when people demonstrated and protest, they would be arrested on several occasions. They didn't arrest you every day, but on occasion they would have those school buses lined up waiting on people to march, and they would arrest you. When they would arrest people and take them to jail, they would separate the genders, the boys from the girls. They would pack all the boys in a couple cells, anywhere between 15 and 20.
A cell this big?
And cell this big, yeah. So they would place this tub of water in the middle of the floor with a dipper, and that was your drinking water.
Huh.
And if you was a minor under 18 years old, you had to stay in there until your parents came to sign you out. And so sometimes you was in jail up to 2 to 3 days before anybody got signed out.
So what do you think about the legacy of all of that now? You look back on it and where we are.
Well, it's very obvious. You know, the most powerful individual in the world is sitting in the White House as a black man.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that's a direct legacy.
Right. And that's voting.
I think, yes,
You have a celebration that happens every year here in Selma around the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Tell me about that event.
Well, it's called Jubilee. It's the Bridge Crossing Jubilee. It's an annual event. This year is going to be our 18th anniversary, and it commemorates Bloody Sunday and the Selma to Montgomery March and all of those martyrs that died for us to be where we are today. But then also it's a celebration. It's a celebration of something that's great, something that we fought for that actually became a reality of us. So that's why it's important for people to come to Selma, because when you come to Selma, not only are you able to become a witness of this great history and to see the names of those individuals who sacrificed their lives on the battlefield for us, but you also participate in the actual events. You can also see what it feels like, what it smells like, what it looks like, you know, and then psychologically, I think it has an impact on you, and it gives you the opportunity to be at peace with where you are in your life and to know that we still have, our struggle continues.
The road that connects Montgomery to Selma is like the road that connects our past to our future. Because of the struggles and the sacrifices the people who worked and walked up this road made, we have the present that we enjoy and the future we look forward to. So if you're in Alabama, you must come to this area and honor our ancestors. It's Nelson George from BlackAtlas.com. Catch you in the air.